Life speaks. It speaks through struggles and success, through music and messages, the preconceived and the unexpected. Whether you are in the depths of the valley or in the midst of your mountaintop experience, everyone needs to be encouraged from time to time. Here we will share stories of strength, testimonies of triumph, verses of victory, observations, and information meant to touch the heart and uplift the soul, to keep you on your path of purpose and navigate this thing called life with power and authority. This is Andrea L. Hines, and I'm your host for When Life Speaks, here on ALH Broadcasting, an affiliate of the Streaming Inspirational Broadcast Network. I am glad you accepted the invitation to join us tonight. There's something in this broadcast just for you, and if it is going to be a blessing to your life, it will be to someone else as well. So share, tag, start a watch party, and invite someone you know to join us. Then turn down the volume of life and get ready to receive, so that when life speaks, you'll speak life. Good evening and welcome, everybody. Glad to be here this evening, and I am so happy to welcome you to When Life Speaks. We are having just a great year so far this year, and I can't believe we are already in the third month. Can you believe that March is here already? And everything is all confused because the pollen is out. And we're trying to do something about that as quickly as we can. But it doesn't seem like we're going to win. It seems like pollen is going to win like it usually does. But I hope things are well in your area, wherever you are listening from. Good evening, Angie O. Glad to have you in the house tonight. Angie's our South Carolina connection, and we've got Linda Cooks in this evening. Welcome, Linda. Glad to have you in. Miss Ida Batts is in. Good evening to you, Ida. And I see the lovely Tamika Tisdale is in with us tonight as well. So I'm glad to have you all there. And as people continue to come in, we will recognize them. And if we got any countries joining us tonight, Alan will put them in the comment section as well, so that we can properly welcome them to the broadcast. Let's see, taking care of business. Got to take care of our little housekeeping things first off. And first thing, let you know, the newsletter, the When Life Speaks newsletter is scheduled to be out this Monday coming. Can't believe it, the 6th, first Monday of every month. We publish the newsletter and send it out. If you don't have it, if you are not a subscriber yet, then look at Facebook, because I will be putting a post up, and the post has the link to the newsletter so that you won't miss anything, because we got a lot of stuff going on. We got that happening. We have let's see, what do we have? A reading for His Glory on April the 29th. I'll be reading from my next 2 releases that are coming out, so you'll be hearing more about that. And also Make It Count, which is a celebration on June 10th of 5 years in broadcasting. So some of these are ticketed events and some are not. They're, really personal invitation kind of events. So look, if you're interested and you want to know more about these things, be sure to do what you know what to do. Send me an email to speaklifewithandrea@gmail.com. That's speaklifewithandrea@gmail.com. And we will be more than happy to get the information to you. Okay, let's see. And if you have any events going on any events in your area, anything happening that When Life Speaks can help you to promote or give you a platform so that you can share your story of strength or testimony of triumph, be sure to let me know. That's why we're here. We're here to encourage each other, inspire each other, lift each other up, and help each other along. So let me know who you are, what you got, and we'll move on from there. But tonight we have a very, very special guest. I'm going to tell you just a little bit about him. Some of you know him, and if you don't, you're going to wish you did. How about that? His name is Gerard Williams. He is an actor. He is a singer. He is a songwriter. When you think of music and theater and those kinds of things, you got to think of Gerard Williams. Very talented young man. He's performing in his performances in various musical productions have led to winning numerous singing and acting awards, like a Broadway World Regional nomination for Best Actor in a Musical and Best Featured Actor in a Musical. His very first album, Joy Cometh, has lifted the spirits of many and inspired others. Gerard also served as worship leader and music administrator for the River Church in Durham, North Carolina. Now, some of his past performances include, and get ready for this list, okay? The National Broadway tour of The Color Purple, My Fair Lady, Tina, regional tours, Oh, What a Holy Night, Ragtime, The Scottsboro Boys, A Motown Christmas, Dream Girl, Sister Act, Memphis, and Jesus Christ Superstar. Woo. He has had TV appearances on CW's The Originals, and he's been featured on 2019 soundtrack music video of the film Canal Street, a pilot episode with Robert Townsend and a celebrity cruise singer as well. He's been working hard. He has been working hard and gaining more and more experience with every performance that he has done. Extremely talented, extensive background. What more could you ask, right? How could he have ever dealt with a dream deferred? Well, you know, regardless of the mountaintop moments that we have, life has a way of happening that often puts us in unexpected places and spaces at unexpected times. I caught up with Gerard recently, and we were able to pre-record his interview so that I could share it with you this evening. He has a rigorous rehearsal schedule right now. So I'm just very, very glad that he made the space and time to do this and to share with you this evening. So I want you to relax for a little bit and turn down the volume of life, because after this very, very short break, you'll be hearing from Gerard Williams as he shares his story of strength. Be right back. Well, good evening, everybody. This is your host, Andrea L. Hines, and you have tuned in to When Life Speaks, and I am here with my guest for the evening, Mr. Gerard Williams. Gerard, how are you? How are you?
I am well. I'm glad to be here with you.
Well, I tell you what, it seems like it's been forever coming. We've tried to do this for a while, but your schedule is very busy and you have a lot going on. And I simply appreciate you making space tonight to be able to talk with us and talk with the listeners about something that all of us face and something that all of us have faced from time to time. We talk about delays, and delays are not denials, and we say, God has a purpose, everything is purposeful, and he has a plan, and all of those wonderful things. And it's not that we don't believe them, But when life happens, it knocks the wind out of our sails, and we have to figure out a way to navigate and get past whatever it is that is going on at the time. But before we get into that part of the story, got some things that I want to ask you. Is anyone else in your family? Are you from a musical family?
I have singers and musicians in my family. I didn't grow up around them. I discovered that in my adult years, actually, that I had some cousins, at a family church back home in Albany, Georgia, that play and sing. I remember growing up hearing a few of my uncles and, some adult cousins, sing at funerals, so it's like I felt like a family thing, but, I never heard anyone just that was like a standout singer, like or professed to be a singer.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, I would say that music definitely runs in my family. I even heard that my great grandmother used to play the piano.
Wow.
So I never experienced that, but things that I've heard.
Mm-hmm.
And funny thing, through ancestry.com, I
Ah,
found some other lineages to musicians in my family. So yeah, it's in
that's
there somewhere.
Now, let me ask you this. When did you start singing? A lot of us start singing at an early age. I think I sang my first solo at 3, but it never led me to the boards and Broadway, Broadway type things, Had little
Yeah.
stints of things, in my adult years and things like that. But when did you first begin to sing? When did that start for you?
Definitely started at an early age. So around the same time, maybe like 2 or 3 years old. I
Mm-hmm.
remember singing in preschool. This preschool daycare called Bright World in Durham, and having some type of program for the parents, to say like this is what we're doing, and singing something like "You Are My Sunshine" or something like that. And actually, one of the members at the River, Lisa Brooks
Mm-hmm.
at the River, she was one of my teachers when I was in pre-K,
Oh
so
wow.
she probably even remembers that. Yeah. That's when I started singing.
when you when in your life did you get to the point of saying, I really want to do this, I want to do more of this? I don't know whether you even, in your high school years or college years or
Right.
whatever, had that thought. A lot of us like to sing, enjoy singing or whatever along that
Mhm.
musical journey, but it's not, it doesn't always hit us in terms of saying, gee, if I could do this for a living, this is what I would do. This is what I would want to do. Did that it come to you that way, or were you
Uh, I
encouraged into it, or how
I
did that?
feel maybe around 15 or 16 years old, I decided that maybe I could do this as a career.
Mm-hmm.
I'd already been singing in church, from an early age. I would sing in school. I'd always been in the honors chorus program. So by the time I got to high school, around ninth, 10th grade, and I started joining show choirs, and I was a part of a group called the Spotlight Cabaret Singers out of Durham, North Carolina. And then even in church, some of my mentors, youth pastor, was like, hey, you should really pursue this. You should really go forward. Because in my mind, I could sing, and I've always sang, but I wanted to be an architect, and I wanted to be an interior designer, and I wanted to build houses. That's because that's what I felt, could sustain me financially as far as a
Mm-hmm.
career.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Being a singer, being an actor, like that was just a dream. It was far removed from reality for me. It's just
Mm-hmm.
something I knew I could do, but not that I could actually pursue and be successful at. So, yeah, but I want to say around 16, I was like, I'm going to try to be a singer. And so that's when I started, thinking about going to college for music and really pursuing it.
Mm-hmm. How did your family feel about that?
I have a very supportive family. My
Okay.
mom has been very supportive of me being a singer since she discovered that I could sing. Always putting me up. She was the mom who would invite her friends over and say, "Hey, Gerard, come out here and sing for my friends. Do that, do this little perform, do that little dance." She was that mom. So she believed in me. I had a great community at my church growing up at Orange Grove Missionary Baptist Church. They believed in me and really pushed me. Um, so yeah, so I mean, I had a really good support group, you know,
Mhm.
growing up.
Do you remember the first time you actually performed when you got that knowing? I think it happens to all of us who have done anything in theater or
Mhm.
with plays and music or anything, that there is that moment that you just know there's just something in you that just knows this is where I want to be. This is exactly where I want to be.
I think it happened at an early age, maybe in elementary school,
Hmm.
but I didn't really understand it.
Okay.
I feel like until um, I'll tell you two times it happened. In the fifth grade, um, I was singing for our graduation. This was New Hope Elementary School, and my music teacher was Mr. Calvin Motley, and his son actually now plays at the River. So
Oh,
full
wow.
circle there.
Full circle. Wow.
Yeah, Mr. Calvin Motley was my music teacher in the fifth grade, and he was like, "You can really sing," and he gave me a solo. It was Michael Jackson's song, the Free Willy song,
Mhm.
and I felt like, oh wow, like I got picked out of all these people to sing a solo. And then when I sang it, the response from people was like, "Oh wow!" So like that kind of made me feel like, "Oh, I may have something here." And
Yeah.
the same thing, and then around that same time, I kind of experienced it in church. You know, I used to sing "Take Me Back" by Andre Crouch. That was my first solo in church,
Mm-hmm.
and the response from people, you know, something different happened when I sang, you know, than from other people. So I realized it at that moment. But I'll say that the second time was when I was in maybe ninth grade, and the same thing kind of happened. I auditioned for a song and I got it over all these other people who were older than me, and you know I've been doing chorus and like who's this new guy kind of thing, and then I sang, and then the response I got from the audience, you know, like I those were the moments where I felt like, okay, like I really can perform. I really have something special
Mm-hmm.
with my voice. So
Mm-hmm.
I say those are the two moments that happened for me.
Mm-hmm. Well, I tell you, we were so excited for you when you first started uh, singing with groups and in theatrical productions.
Yeah.
Uh, and I remember going to see you in Fayetteville when you were in
Hmm.
Dream Girls. You were in Dream Girls here in Raleigh not long ago.
Hmm.
But we were all just so proud of you because we had watched the journey. Uh,
Yeah.
you are a wonderful, wonderful praise and worship leader without question, and your love of the Lord shines through when you sing.
Hmm.
But there's something, and I think I shared this with you recently, that someone had come to church with me, was visiting, and had heard you, and they said that guy has a Broadway voice. He has a Broadway voice. There's something about the sound of your voice
Hmm.
that just lends itself, to those productions. And
Yeah.
we were happy for you. We knew things were happening for you. And then you were touring with the Color Purple.
Yes.
And we were all planning. We were going to go see you in the Color Purple. And
Hmm.
then came COVID.
Yep.
And
Yep.
then came COVID. And that's what we want to talk about tonight, because it is something to have a dream, and we all have them, whatever they happen to be. And things happen in life, but
Mhm.
when things happen like COVID, when things happen that are not just making you have a detour, but the world is having a detour, the
Right.
community is having a detour, and
Right.
there's absolutely nothing you can do about it. So here you are in this space of following the dream, being on the path that you've always wanted to be on and wanted to be on since an early age. And all of a sudden, the rug is pulled out from under you.
Yeah.
What were your first thoughts? How did you feel when that happened?
Um, well, the tour itself was significant because I really started my acting journey not when I was young, but maybe around 2009, 2010, where I was doing like community theater.
Mm-hmm.
Just some gospel plays, around the area. Not really wanting to even be an actor because I wanted to be a singer, you know. So someone pulled me aside because I could sing and tried to get me to act. And then when I did, I was like, oh, I can act a little bit, And I ended up doing some productions with North Carolina Central University. And I took a break for a couple years. And then around 2017, I came back into it again. And I was like, I want to pursue acting again. And so I had been on the journey since 2017. And that's when, around the time you guys came and saw me and Dreamgirls, I ended up getting something with Jesus Christ Superstar. So some of the church came out to see that, So things are starting to happen the more that I was pursuing it. So of course, once I'd done all that, the next level was like, okay, I'm trying to get to Broadway.
Mm-hmm.
So when I had gone out numerous times for The Color Purple, even the revival Broadway production, and got rejected over the years, and then I auditioned again, and I finally got this. I finally booked the national Broadway tour of The Color Purple. It's huge. It's huge. It superseded, all the steps that I had been taking to get there. So when I finally booked it, shared it with everybody, I resigned as praise and worship leader. I'm going on the road, For it to end abruptly like that was devastating. It was devastating. And to add on to that, it was the week before we were coming to Durham.
Right.
So I had done, so we had been on the road for almost 6 months at this time, done over 100 shows. And, and it was the big thing. I was coming home to perform, like all the things you've been seeing me do up to this point, I'm getting ready to perform on the big stage on a national tour. So to have that cut short, it hurt. It hurt. It really did. And we didn't find out really exactly what was going to happen because we got shut down coming from Key West to Miami. And then we were just getting notifications that, hey, we're just going to go on a break because nobody knew what was really happening.
Right.
So we were told that, we're just going to put the show on hold and then we're going to resume the tour schedule at a later date. And I would say not even 2 weeks after we ended on March 13th, 2020, not even 2 weeks after, there's just like, your last show was Key West. We're not going to go back on the road. There'll be no continuation of this tour. This show is done. And so it's just like, we're not even going back. So, it's like, God, like, what now?
Yeah.
Like, well, why did you build me up in order to break me down? That's kind of what it felt like.
Mm-hmm.
But I was able to pull through that because I did not stop performing. I ended up doing virtual shows. I ended up telling my story like I'm still telling it now, and being consistent, still saying, okay, well, that chapter may have ended that way, but that wasn't the end of the story.
The story.
That's
good. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I think that it's so important. And I did want to ask you that question. What was it that kept you holding on, that kept you in that place of faith that it would happen? And I don't know whether you were there. You may not have been at that place. I know that it's so easy that when things like that happen, and happen abruptly and happen that are just totally out of your control, it's easy to think, I missed him. It's easy to think that this is the end of the story. It's easy to think maybe this wasn't what I was supposed to do after all. Maybe, but then again, why did God let me come this far and then take it away from me? So there are all of these things that I think can come at you to make you throw in the towel, make you want to quit, or make you say that it's over. So how did you navigate through that? What was there something that you held on to? Was it a word that you got? Was it, what? And was it something that made you say, yeah, this isn't the end of the story? What made you think that it really wasn't over, that it was just a chapter?
It's just those things that you said. It's the word, going back to Romans 8, 8:28, all things work together for the good of them, that love the Lord and are called according to his purpose. Leaning on that, praying, keeping faith, keeping hope, and holding on to a promise that God has made me.
Mm.
And in that, I would say that God can have a promise for you, but it doesn't always reveal to you all the details.
Right.
So
Right.
who's to say that was just a part of the promise and not the full thing? That was
Mm.
a piece, a building block for where I am now. It wasn't the end of it. So, I would say to people that sometimes when you feel like you've made it, that doesn't necessarily mean that that's the end of it. That
Mhm.
could be the beginning of the promise. Like
Mm.
the promise is this big, and you're only looking at this part of it.
Mm.
You know,
Mm.
so that's what I held on to. It's
That's
like, okay, this is good. I have it on my books. It's on my resume. You know, I may not have finished it out, but it's on my resume, and I did it, and I accomplished a lot in that.
mm-hmm.
And God has something next for me because this is a part of a bigger promise for me.
A part
So
of a
that's what
bigger
I held on.
promise. I like that. I like that. Gerard, how did you go back? How did you get back into because the COVID situation, if you will, was a couple of years that we were
Yeah,
all just kind of out of pocket and not knowing what was going to happen and what we were going to do. Two things. And one, what did you do in that time? I know you said that you um, uh, continued to do interviews and continued to do things like that. Was
yeah,
there anything else that you did? And the second piece of that is when things began to lift, how did that work for you? Was it something that you could go right back into, or did you, still have a little time to kind of figure out, is this, do I want to do this again? Do I want to, am I going
yeah.
to take this chance again?
Yeah.
Where were you in those moments?
Um, I feel like it was a reality check for all of us.
Mm.
It's like the things that we feel are so secure that, like this is going to always be there or not, you know. So what I had to do and what I did with other creatives is we figured out a way how to navigate when the things that we feel are going to be always solid are not there anymore. So we did like virtual performances. We figured out Zoom and we figured out how to set up a living room concert.
Mhm.
We figured out how to make it work to still entertain people, to still somehow get paid,
Mhm.
without actually being in front of a live audience on the stage.
Mhm.
So I work with Theater Raleigh, with Lauren Kennedy and Charlie Brady. I work with Yolanda Rabin. She ended up being one of the first concerts that I did. She has a Gladys Knight show that she does. That was one of the first concerts in person, once some of the restrictions were lifted. We could only have about 20, 25 people in the room and everybody be masked, it was all of that. Um, so I just kept pursuing it.
Mhm.
I don't think there was ever a point where I felt like it's not going to happen, or I can't do this anymore. But it's like, let's figure out another way to do it. Like Deacon Jimmy always says, not a problem, it's just a situation.
The situation.
It's just a situation.
It's the
So how do we figure our way out around this? To keep pursuing it. So that's kind of where I was
situation.
with it. And again, like I said, I had opportunity to keep performing. And when I did get back into it, the second part of your question, it was just different. Again, we had to figure out how do we make this work. My tour with My Fair Lady was one of the first tours to go back out nationally. And there were, mandates in different states, different things that you could do in different, everyone had their own thing. So we just had to figure it out and make it work. And so
Mhm.
that's kind of where I was, holding on to my faith, holding on to a promise, holding on to hope, continuing to pray in every city, just like, and also not, I say not putting all my eggs in one basket because you saw what happened before.
Mhm.
The rug can be pulled at any time. How do you prepare yourself mentally? How do you prepare yourself financially? I did something completely different the second time I went out on tour with my money than I did the first time.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
You find a way. You
That's right.
you find a way. So Gerard, tell us where you are now. What are you doing now? What is in the immediate future for you as you are navigating all these things and options that you created, which I think is an amazing thing.
Absolutely. So right now, I'm on my third national Broadway tour with Tina, the Tina Turner musical. It's so funny to even say it right now, but yeah, that's where I am right now. I'm getting ready to debut as Raymond in the musical, as well as I'm part of the ensemble, and it's a blessing. You know, it's a blessing. It kind of came out of nowhere, but not out of nowhere because I'm always auditioning. You know, people don't see it. You know, they'll see like, oh, you got another job, but I've actually auditioned for 20 jobs in between. You know,
Mhm.
um, so yeah, so this was an opportunity that came while I was doing Dreamgirls, and I actually was not able to get to my callback, you know, and so that kind of threw a wrench in my plans as far as being in the room with the director and being there with the choreographer and the music director for them to see me in person because I just sent in a tape, you know, kind of like how you're looking at me now.
Mhm.
And it just seemed like, well, since I couldn't come to the callback because I was doing the show, that it was just kind of like, oh, well, you know, not an opportunity missed.
Mhm.
But I didn't feel that way. I felt like if this was going to be for me, it was going to happen. And if not, something else was going to happen. You know, the right people may have saw me and said, hey, he couldn't come back for this, but what about this show? That's kind of how I'm always thinking, you know,
Mhm. Mhm.
um, that there's a purpose behind it, you know, that I'm not just doing things for naught, you know, like there's something that's going to happen from it.
Mhm.
So, you know, when I couldn't be there and then my agents were like, well, there's nothing we can do, I said, that's all right. You know, let's just move on to the next thing. Thank you for trying. And then, you know, 3 days later, I get a call and they say, hey, they want you without even going to the callback. So, and that's favor if I ever seen it, you know.
This is the story of what God has for you.
Absolutely,
It
absolutely,
is for you. It is for you.
absolutely. Yeah.
Definitely.
So that's where I am now.
Definitely. Well, Gerard, you have had quite a journey.
Yes.
Quite a journey. Um, you are not only talented, but your outlook, your perspective, your attitude, your approach, um, all work in your favor. All work in your favor. There are so many things that could have happened, so
Hmm.
many different ways that this could have gone.
Yeah.
But I think all of those things coming into play and just never giving up,
Right.
always, always look at things. And it's interesting because instead of looking at it like, I can't do another play, I can't do another show, you looked at it from the perspective, not just that, not from the show perspective, but the fact that I am performing. I am performing. So let me find a different way to perform,
Right. Exactly.
which is an entirely different perspective of simply looking for where can I do another show. You know what I mean? And
Exactly.
and I think that has an awful lot to do, uh, and is a good message for all of us because all of us have a dream of some kind. It may not be Broadway, it may not be theater or acting, and it may not even be something that other people will see. But whatever the passion is, and whatever it is that you believe God wants you to do out there, listeners, then pursue, pursue. Keep your craft skilled, keep your skills honed, keep yourself in a position to
Yeah.
be ready, to be prepared.
Absolutely. And also don't get in your own way. Don't
Yes,
don't don't let your self-doubt, don't let age, don't let, you know, missed or what you feel like may have been a missed opportunity cloud your judgment, you know, or your thinking of still pursuing what you need to pursue.
still pursuing, still pursuing.
Yep.
Gerard, are there any other, you've given some great nuggets of how to navigate when things like this happen, because this
Mhm.
isn't the first time, it's not going to be the last. Uh,
Right.
life speaks. It speaks all the time.
Yeah.
So we're always going to come across these kinds of things. But do you have anything in particular that you would like to leave with those listeners who may be at the place right now where the dream that they thought was manifesting, that they thought they had their hands on, and was secured, and all of that has, for whatever reason, changed?
Hmm.
What message would you leave with them in order to help navigate those moments?
Change with it. If you
Change.
if you feel like the dream has changed, the dream has shifted, shift and change with it. Don't just stop. And I think that's what happens to a lot of people. They feel like because it didn't go exactly how they thought it was going to go, they stop and they give up there. But go with the change, go with the shift, and see. And I feel like that's something that God can honor. You know, that something happened in your life, kind of like Job. Job
Yeah.
had all these things happen. All these darts got thrown. His life got turned upside down, but he kept going, and he kept the faith in God, and he still believed,
Mm-hmm.
and he
Mm-hmm.
still pursued. So that's what I would say. Um, Again, find a way to go with the change, find a way to go with the shift, and keep your faith, and believe in your heart. Don't give up.
Mm. Good words. Good words, sir. So if you are not on tour doing anything else, you can come back and preach, and we'll have the plate ready for you. And I may even sign up for the choir.
All right. Okay.
But thank you so much. I do appreciate you. You bless us so much, so much. Not just in the words that you sing, but tonight in the words that you've said. So I do appreciate you. I thank you for being a part of When Life Speaks. And look, come back again when you can. When you're when you're some of your tours are not touring or whatever
Right.
is happening, you are always welcome. Always welcome here at When Life Speaks. Thank you again. And hey, listeners, hang in there. We're going to take a slight break and we'll be right back. Boy, I tell you, what an amazing story. When we talk about stories of strength and testimonies of triumph, I am always so happy when we have someone like a Gerard Williams who's willing to come on and willing to talk about his story and his journey and just inspire us. I just found that so inspirational. And he is such a nice person. Some people are just nice. And Gerard is one of those people. And knowing how devastating this must have been for him, but seeing him, you would never have known it. He kept a wonderful attitude through it all. Never heard him complain. I'm sure there were very difficult times for him, but you never saw it. You never saw it. And I just appreciate the nuggets that he has left with us tonight. Yes, Tamika said he's so humble, and he is. And I thank you all for your comments to him and about him during this interview. I don't know what happened tonight that we had so much stopping and freezing, but I kept praying, God, don't let the audio go, because the words that he was saying are so important as we go through life. There's a lot talk about dreams. I know that it is our mantra, if you will, for church out there at the river in Durham. But I'm hearing it in so many other places and so many other speakers and so many other times. Don't give up your dreams. Don't give up your dreams. And just like Gerard was saying tonight, find a way to navigate through. Change your perspective if you have to. Change your mindset if you have to. Find a different way. Shift your focus. Shift into the change that may be occurring around you, and everything will be just fine. I just thank him again. I hope he has an opportunity to see this and hear it, and perhaps see your comments as well. If you know of somebody who might benefit from this particular program, be sure to tell them to watch on Saturday at noon. We will replay this broadcast. So if you know of anybody that you'd like to share it with, please be sure and do so. If there's any information that you need regarding this program or any other program, or just ALH Broadcasting in particular, just be sure to send me an email to speaklifewithandrea@gmail.com. That's speaklifewithandrea@gmail.com. Look out for him. If you see him anywhere, you better get your autographs now, because he's going places and he is not going to stop. So we thank him again. We pray for him. Keep him in your prayers. It's not easy when you're traveling around and going to different states and different cities and having to deal with all kinds of different issues that come up when you travel like that. So when you think about him, pray for him, cover him in prayer, and we'll just see where his journey takes him. But it was wonderful to have him talk to us tonight. So that is it. That is it for When Life Speaks this evening. We will be right back here next Thursday night at 7 p.m. I don't know what guest I'm going to have or what topic we're going to discuss, but it is always something that is going to put you in a posture so that you will be ready to receive. And then when life speaks, you'll be able to speak life. Have a wonderful rest of the week, everybody, and come on back. Like I said, be right back here next Thursday night at 7 p.m. God bless you. See you soon. Good night, everybody.